Hi everyone, I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I'd like to welcome you back to my channel on YouTube. I am Spirit Teaching with Going Within Self on my TikTok, 1974 Enlightened Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel and you're just coming in or what have you, I usually tell people to go read the description of my YouTube channel and get a better understanding of what my channel is about. It can lead to anywhere. You may start on one topic, but it just wherever spirit takes me, because it's getting out that poison. That's why today I'm talking about mental health, because mental health is a big thing right now. Um, it's in some cases, in some families and what have you, mental health is a taboo. And it's been a taboo for a very long time for a lot of people and their families and what have you. And it produces a stigma on people. Um, I know that, like, I've been waiting almost a year and a half now to get into talk with someone through mental health. A year and a half. Okay. They called me once to go in and see a psychiatrist because, they say you got to get diagnosed. It's like, what? Like, why do you have to be diagnosed for mental health issues that you're trying to get help with? Why do you need a diagnosis? It's just, you're asking for help. You're asking for guidance, but they make it as a stigma and a taboo. Okay. If, like, they know that there's a long wait because the only real coverage you get with regards to mental health is if you go through the medical system, if you go through the government. You can't go to a private psychiatrist unless you're going to fork out the $200 or unless you have insurance. And you can always get into one of them quicker. With the medical system, the mental health system there, you're rating, and they choose who you see, not you, which is, it's not right. It's not right that they get to choose and tell you who you're going to see. Because a lot of the time within the mental health system, within the government that pays them and what have you, they don't have, like, they have the education, but they don't have what other private psychiatrists have. They don't have that ability to really go in deep and pull out, like, maybe the stuff that you have suppressed, and they're not trained to do that. They're trained to sit there more times than not to write on a piece of paper after you're gone, and most times you feel judged there. Like, contacted somebody about going for past life regression and what have you. It was like almost $500 for a session, like 3-4 hours or what have you, to get mental health. So how is the system beneficial to the people? It's all about this. People, like, you need money to live and what have you. But we're paying in all this money to a system, and none of it is being used where it should be used. If you want to see a psychologist or what have you, it shouldn't have to be who they say you see. You should be able to pick your own and it be covered. You pay enough in taxes for it. Your medical health care is supposed to be said to be free, but there are people that have to go and do fundraisers or GoFundMe or what have you in order to get certain operations or in order to get their medication. But they keep hiking everything up. They hike things up, but you get less. So, like, and I was watching Joe Rogan, and I knew because they had put in this thing about that, like, if you wanted assisted suicide because you had mental health issues, seriously, are they trying to tell you, "Oh, it's cheaper for us to kill you than it is for us to, try to help you?" So we'll take advantage because, most people, like, if they're feeling of committing suicide, it's because they need that help. They need that guidance. They don't need to commit suicide. But that's what's been going on, and that's the part of mental health. And I I I looked on one of my live videos, and somebody that I don't even know. Okay, I'm not giving them a lot of time, but they called me. They don't know me. They called me an idiot and a moron, and they told me, I could give you the number for the suicide hotline. I'm not suicidal, but I think people want to drive other people to be suicidal because, you know, they figure it makes their problems go away. I understand what my mental health it is, and it's spirit to spirit. I'm experiencing different forms of my spirit because I've been through my past and I let it go, but it's there's parts that haven't been healed, so it keeps coming up, and people are left alone. They say, "Oh, call the suicide hotline." So then, you call the suicide hotline, and what do they send? Well, they'll send a police officer or something like that. And sometimes people they don't want that. And it causes an escalation. And that's how we end up with these officers killing somebody because it's the overreaction, because the actual help that's supposed to be there is not there for the people. The funding for that is going into big business, big pharma, government officials, people that just want to shove it in their pocket and say, "Oh, well, there's a waiting list." It's like, it's someone's choice who they want to go see for mental health, so it should be covered, and it shouldn't be about having to go and get insurance. You're already forking out hundreds of dollars each time you fork out for taxes, or you do your income tax. But the help's not there. Like, your medical coverage should be whatever, whether it's through a private sector, that money should be following the patient, not corporations' pocketbooks. You put people in charge of stuff that, they got these big degrees on, money, and it's usually like, they learn how to friggin' rip you off because they know the loopholes. Everyone has a right to medical treatment, but they're denied it. Everyone has a right. It's like, oh, well, here, because you feel this way or you feel that way, we're going to throw you in the psychiatric unit, and then we're going to give you a pill, and then we're not going to do a whole lot more. Just talk to you every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month, or what have you, and just long enough for you to come in and say a few words, and then let's give you your medication again, which actually suppresses you. And most medications, they actually, like, one of the side effects are weight gain, which has conducive to people's self-esteem. Also suicidal tendencies, which Wasn't that what you went in for? It's like, if somebody's coming in and they're telling a stranger that they're an idiot and a moron and stuff like that, it's like, how do you treat your partner? Seriously, because like I'm tired. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a fucking moron. You're just you're just like an abuser, and I don't care who likes me saying that. It's that part of, if the shoe fits, wear it. Do I say stuff back to my ex-husband? You're fucking right, I do, because I'm going to reflect back to him. People want respect, but they don't want to give it, but they want to demand it from other people and then say, oh, well, you don't respect, or I'm told I don't appreciate nothing, which I appreciate everything. I find a piece of glass on the ground and I'm like a little kid. I pick it up and, ooh, treasure, but I don't appreciate nothing. It's like what causes a lot of mental health too is being neglected. It's like, affection, a hug goes a long way. But people are pushed away. And they're pushed away from people who never experienced it themselves. And then sometimes we want to blame other people for a problem. Yeah, sometimes people have a hand in it. And I'm still working on things to be able to just, blow it off. But it's those parts of me that it's like, am I just feeling that part of me, or like because I know right now the Schumann resonance is going haywire again. So there's a lot of like a lot of the flares and solar storms going on right now, and it's causing havoc on our body. It's pulling a lot out. So you're probably experiencing a lot of mental health experiences right now. But it's being able to be there for one another and give each other a safe space, because this waiting list thing, that's ridiculous. And anybody having to wait when there is ample help out there, but your government doesn't want to give it to anybody in the private sector unless it's for corporations. They want to keep it within their system. And it creates more mental health because you're experiencing things that you can't quite verbalize. Like with me, I understand this spirit thing, but I know that there's a lot of deep-seated wounds because the same people that say that people don't know how to communicate anymore, they're the people that don't know how to communicate, because they want to tell you that they always want to tell you that you're the problem, but they forget about what they were like. It's like somebody waiting a year and a half to get in to see somebody for mental health, or they tell you, if it's that bad, call 911. Seriously? We pay for the services, whether like it should be, whether like a government system, which, I'm not fond of the government system. I want a, a somebody that I can sit and talk to that isn't trying to pill push me. Someone that is actually genuine. and who has the tools themselves and knows how to teach people how to use the tools, not just tell them, oh, here, take this pill, come back in such and such a time. And then some people, when they have mental health, they don't have the support of their family because they're treated like they're a plague. They don't want to help people. They don't want to help the person in need, or like in need, but they want that help to be there when they're in need of it. Today, like I just, to try and talk to someone, it's like banging your head on a wall because they always twist it around and tell you that you're the problem, and you're actually not the problem. You're just trying to communicate with them something you're feeling because of what you're experiencing between those two people. So when somebody writes on your post and says about, like, here, I'll give you the number for the suicidal hotline, or it comes in and calls you an idiot or a moron, and they don't know you, they're abusive. And I know what it's like to be in a situation like that, not just within a relationship of like what is romantic, but even on a friend relationship, because I'm not in a romantic relationship. But people who say they love someone or care about somebody, abusing them is not caring about them. That's the total opposite. And people say, well, leave. Well, I've tried. I've asked for help within my family to have a place to go, even to get away. And I'm told, oh, well, you guys can't get along. Or, just stay downstairs. I've been fucking isolating for 4 fucking years. It's not just about the remembrance of and fighting a war. We're constantly fighting a war. We're fighting a mental health war, and we're losing people from it because they go and they fight these wars and they come home and they're suffering from the experience. And then the help is not there. They're just your number now. You're all used up, Wait, just wait on it. I've spoke to sometimes some other people that's been in the forces that have to live apart. They don't know how to adapt to civil life anymore. My ex-husband, he was calling people maggots and everything, exactly how they treated him in the military. So how is that helping your loved ones? Then they come back and it's abusive. They leave a good person, but then they come back and it's like, what the hell? It's like any type of traumatic experience that we have gone through, but the system is not there in the way that it should be. My ex-husband says, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You have to make the appropriate changes within the system. If I want to go to a naturopath, I should be able to have that funding to go to a naturopath and not have to fork it out of my own pocket because I've already paid into medical care. And that's part of medical care. But because they don't recognize it, or they don't recognize a shaman or anything like that, somebody who can actually, who understands that part of mental health, well, no, because, you didn't go to university. You don't have this big diploma that says you're allowed to prescribe medication. Today has just been a mind fuck because it's like vomit. And what makes things escalate a lot of the time is because when you're trying to express your feelings and people dismiss you, like you don't matter, like how you feel don't matter, but it's always about how they feel. I feel like shit because I haven't slept since 4:30 yesterday morning. Thank you for asking, though. How are you? I hope you're better than I am right now. Because, like, the Schumann resonance was going for a while. I woke up, like, well, not woke up. I was up all, like, haven't slept. And I'm looking and, like, because I have a bad day, well, I'm being a bitch. But it's okay for everybody else to have their bad days. And then they'll send you a message and they'll say about communicating, and they're the worst ones for it because they'll send you a message instead of, seriously, why aren't you saying this shit to people? Why aren't you saying this to my face? This is my ex-husband. And people like him to other people because there's so many people experiencing it. And then people talk about different ethnic backgrounds of what they're like with their people or what have you. Well, have a gander at yourself because it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what background you come from. They create wars and stuff, and it creates an anxiety within everybody. Well, they make war profitable because when it creates an anxiety, what do people start doing? They start going for comfort food. They start like hoarding. They start spending money they don't have because they go get credit. You're getting credit on someone else because you're borrowing their money because the money is not really the bank's. But they'll, you know, people will think otherwise. It's like, I understand the human mind in many different ways. And others do too, because they learn how to feel their way through because that's all you can do sometimes. I am mostly in my heart space. And that's why I come off so emotional because I'm experiencing other forms of energy, people's feelings, whether it be somebody sitting next to me or a neighbor or a person 5 kilometers away, 100 kilometers away, or all the way across the world. And a lot of people are experiencing that. But naysayers and people that don't understand it, they'll say, oh, well, no, you're not feeling that. Yeah. I used an example the other night. I was talking with someone and I asked a hard question. And I could feel them. They didn't want to answer. Say, how are you supposed to heal? How are you supposed to resolve anything if you're not going to talk to each other? That's why that's why marriage has decreased. Where I'm living right now, I live right across the road from a church, and not once have I seen a wedding. And there might have only been 2 funerals. And I'm glad that if people aren't dying, I'm happy about that. But I'm talking about people getting married. They tell you they tell you, oh, well, we're going to say whether or not you can get married. You have to have counseling to get married first. And then you have to go, if the marriage don't work, you have to go through a shit pile of hoopty law through the justice system in order for them to sign a piece of paper and say, oh yeah, it's okay, you can get married or you can get a divorce. But first we're going to convince you to tear the rest of your family unit apart and put your children in the middle of it if there's 2 children. When I got divorced, I went to see somebody just to get this paper signed, and they tried to convince me to go for half of what my ex-husband had. Well, fuck, his ex-wife before me, he went through that. I mean, I could have took him for half of what he had. Just for the way, the mental anguish of it. But it didn't. Because that's what's wrong with the system. They convince you, and they will literally put a rip in there. They'll poison your mind and make something that's already hard enough even harder. They'll literally tear families apart and say, oh, well, we're doing a good thing. No, you're not. You're doing a good thing for you, not for the people. It's like they say the human brain is so complex, but if a person was out of stress, out of anxiety, out of frustration, out of pain, and they were given the ability to just be free to be who they are. The creativity that everyone has. And it's been suppressed by systems. Because it's that part, if you don't have money to go outside of the system and pay for what you want, then you're shut out of luck and you are mentally tortured. I have meditated, I move energy, and sometimes emotions get so intense, like I said, it comes out like barf. And what makes things worse for people is when they're trying to express their feelings and other people dismiss them for it and tell them that they're a problem, that they have histrionics. my ex-husband the other night when I was talking to him, and I don't care. It's like, you really need to look at yourself. He started saying about everybody with psychosis. He's tired of being around people who just have fucking psychosis. Dude, seriously, man, do you ever hear yourself? Do you ever look at your own actions? Do you ever, you know, look at you? Because I know that I've witnessed him saying to him, saying his name, and then saying, "You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking moron," saying this to himself. I tried telling him today because sometimes it comes out of my mouth, boy. Well, I know what that is. I know that it was, whether it was him or what have you. It was like seeing what people have, somebody has gone through growing up, and I'm seeing that it's like, boy, and they're taken out behind a building and they're whipped, or boy, and they're being molested. Or it's a disciplinary. And I know when I bring it out, sometimes it's more like, boy, grow up. But when that comes out, I feel I see something. So people will say whatever they want to me, or they'll even say it to you or what have you. But you're not to say shit to them if you had a mouthful. Because if you did, well, they say you're starting something. You're trying to cause problems. It's like, wait a minute, why is it okay for you to react this way, but it's not for me? Why am I always supposed to be the bigger person? I've been in isolation, and my ex will say, like, being alone is an insanity. It like drives an insanity in itself because you're deprived of conversation, you're deprived of affection, you're deprived of a connection. Like they say about going inward and being comfortable with yourself. Yes, you can be comfortable with yourself, but we're not meant to be alone. It's another part of this system that wants to keep people separated because love is powerful. Love heals. Anger, in front of anger divides. My ex-husband said that he wouldn't go see a marriage counselor because all they do is they just drive you away from one another because it's work. It's work for people too. You're in a relationship and you want that, you see that you just need that help because you're dealing with, you're trying to work through something, and you need that middle. You need that perspective to help you see. I'm not trying to get back with my ex-husband, but I do know that we both deserve a true, genuine love. I love giving hugs. I love receiving hugs. But not if somebody's just giving me it just so that they can pull it back later. I heard somebody say to their husband one day, "Do you love me?" It's that part, if you have to ask if somebody loves you, you're missing something in your relationship. And that's really difficult for any partnership. And it doesn't matter what form it is. They said in the Bible and stuff, it was like they said about Yeshua, Jesus, however you refer, saying 3 times, Peter or what have you, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And I was like, why are you asking? Like, if you're asking if somebody loves you, then you're not. And I said, I'm not going to beg for love. You either love me or you don't. And if you don't love me, well, you can't make people love us. A lot of the time it can be because, they have a hard time feeling love for themselves because, they've been beat down. Mental health has just not been there. But you should be able, like I said, you should be able to go see anyone and it be covered. Not who they choose because, they're bought paid for it. You got to do it our way. And I actually had a psychologist tell me, like, I got to stay in the boundaries. I can't do it how I feel would work. I got to follow their guidelines or I'm out of job. And a lot of them, it's not like they can go always be a private psychologist. But either way, people should be able to have that choice. And that's how controlling those systems are. In a lot of ways, the medical system could actually create more mental health problems because you're treated like a number. I had a doctor one day because I was spitting up blood. This was before I died. I was spitting up blood, and the other doctor was going to do more testing, but her shift was over. So this other doctor came in and he was like, he took his hand and he put it over and he's like, now Tara. This was when I was asking him about arrhythmia, and at first he said it doesn't exist. And he said that, like, oh well, there's many different forms. Well, you just said it didn't exist, and I got that on video. And then he puts his hand over the rail and rests on my arms. Tara, we just did the most expensive test that we've had here on you. So seriously, and you call yourself a doctor? I call you a fucking quack because you're not a doctor for your patients. You're there to protect your pocketbook. was a medical doctor. And then after that, I was having visions that and my mom was deceased, but I was having visions that my mom ended up taking me, and it was like I went somewhere, and wherever it was, I went where she took me. They did something to help me. It was like, "Será?" This past 5 years have been utter, like, a torment torture. So, a spiritual awakening is not it's not easy, and it's not that you're going crazy, it's your body is trying to release everything, and sometimes it feels like it's all coming at once, and that's where people start experiencing anger, aggression, their emotions. Feeling like they're not in control of their emotions anymore. It's because the inner child part, like, is screaming out, is saying, "Get this weight off me." If I could afford a private therapist, psychologist, actually, to me, it's a guide. Ones that actually understand what mental health really is. It's not about putting a label on someone and keeping them on medication for the rest of their life and saying, "Oh, well, you're going to be this way for the rest of your life." No, I'm only this way because you want to make a profit, because you don't want to do the right thing and help. And I'm not saying that it's everyone within the system, because I know, like I was told, sometimes their hands are tied, but they need that work. That's up for everybody standing up and saying, hey, why are we only allowed a limited? Why do we have to go see who you tell us we have to go see, or who you pick for us? Why are we unable to pick that person for ourselves and it be covered? Because when you're going through the government, like I said, the first thing that I do is say, well, we need to get you into a psychiatrist because we need to diagnose you. And that's what I was told. We need to diagnose you and get you on medication. How many people have 2, 3, 4 year olds? And people are saying, doctors are saying, oh, your kid's ADHD. No, your kid is not ADHD. Your kid is a kid. You're not meant to sit still. They're so full of friggin' energy. And then when you put them in a chair and you make them sit for hours and people think that's okay, it's not. Because then it creates an energy buildup. And then that's where you say, oh, they're bad kids. No, they're not trying to be bad kids. They just have that pent up energy. And then it becomes an anger, an uncontrollable feeling. And they don't know how to express it any other way. It's like, tell me, why is a 2, 3, 4 year old on medication? Period. Seriously. I understand that, they say, like, they need this, but, what they actually need is parents who are educated, and I'm not saying you're stupid, I'm saying educated on how to like, help the children. We say that our children can take away. Children, it's not about taking children away, it's about helping families. That's what it's about. Someone told me that they were coming to them and told them that their granddaughter needed to be on medication. She was saying something, and she'd be right into it. My ex-husband told me that school creates an ADHD. He experienced being placed in a garbage can by the teacher with his hand held and humiliated in front of the class. How many of you have actually experienced being humiliated by a teacher in class? Or even in the workforce, where you're supposed to be taking the person aside to talk to them, not humiliate them in front of people because you've got a big ass ego. That's not a power trip. My ex, sometimes he'll even talk to me the way he does in Ford, and I can feel that. And people look. Somebody else saying, my dad said that people see it. Yeah, you're right. People see it. But if when you react to it, the person that caused the conflict to happen will blame you for it. They want to tell everybody else about that they have mental health issues, but they don't want to look at their own. I'm proud. I'm really pleased and happy because, like, the first step is realizing when you need that guidance, actually take that step towards. And I'll tell you right now, to admit to yourself that can be the hardest thing you've ever done, because it's that part of realizing that everybody needs some help or guidance sometimes, and it's okay. But you're told you're or you're told it's not. We're not gonna it's that part, we're not gonna let you get past it. We're gonna keep bleeding that wound so that we can make a new one. See, the true therapist, true counselor, they won't look at you as if you're a prophet. They'll look at you like, they'll look at you as a human being, somebody that has hope and has. You say that people are born a certain way. It's because there's a part in their brain that hasn't developed, or there's a part of their brain that it's developed, it's suppressed, it's squeezing, it goes unnoticed. because it's hard for our children to express what it is they're experiencing. So, like, if a child, like, if a child can't express it and they go into adulthood and they still don't know how to express it, they're the ones that end up doing things sometimes. And people will say, well, it's your fault, it's your responsibility. But sometimes it's that part, if they don't know there's an underlying problem within your system, your body system, it's up to the so-called professionals to know this. So they go to school for it. They go to school and they learn about the different medications and what have you, and then they give you a medication and they don't tell you shit about it. Like, here, we'll get, like, you get the paper with side effects and stuff like that, but how many of you really understand what that fucking mumbo say? Not many, right? And not many of you read it. Right. Like, as I've been talking here, I've been seeing, like, my ex-husband texting me, but the only reason why he's texting me is because he wants to throw shit at me. But tells me to go away and leave him alone, but does this to me. It's like, seriously, man, grow up. Practice what you preach. Some would say that you got a temper. I wonder why. You get suppressed for so long and you let it fester and it festers because you don't say shit if you had a mouthful. And then when you do speak up and say something, oh, you're a problem. No, you're not the problem. And then, when you speak up and you stand up for yourself, you react a certain way. What do? They blame you for their reaction because you're standing up for yourself. My ex-husband, we talked about this in front of somebody one day. And yeah, I do talk about him, and I talk about myself because I know he's got a heart. He's just fucking bitter right now. Like, the world don't owe us nothing. We owe it to ourselves. We never want to look at ourselves. We just want to point fingers at everybody else because it's easier that way. And then everybody has those deep seeds, and it comes out in different forms. We were talking to that person that day, and I was saying about, like, him calling me a whore, a cunt, and everything like that. And because I was standing up for myself, he tried to justify and say that it was my fault when he would say about killing me or burying me. It's the stuff that I've expressed to some in my family. And I'm told, oh, just stay downstairs. And that's why a lot of people struggle to ask for help. For those very reasons. It's like, what are you doing? Trying to isolate me too? Telling me to stay downstairs? Did you tell your other daughters? It's like, stay downstairs like the dog you would. Because that's what it feels like sometimes. I've seen people treat animals like that, send them in a corner. If you're going to treat an animal or a person like that, why do you have them? Why don't you go leave the corner? Better yet, why don't you just fucking heal from your own shit? Like, other people see your work, strangers see your work, but it's that part in your own family don't see you. You're invisible. It's like once upon a time, the last part of the series, it had the girl's name was Tilly, but it was Alice in Wonderland. And when she needed an alibi, nobody knew. It was like she was walking through life unseen. The part of being there for other people, but we need the help, understanding, compassion, kindness, like that. And that creates anger. See, systems know that because they convince your loved ones to go off to war. Men a lot of the time, and then your wives and children are left home. It creates division. It creates loneliness. It creates a mental health issues, PTSD. It's abusive. People say, "Oh, well, it's not like that no more." Sure about that? I'm talking to anyone and everyone who can relate because we're here to help each other. We're here to help each other heal. We're here to heal together. I come on here sometimes, yeah, I come off as a bitch or mouthpiece. I guess the frustration and I meditate sometimes. but sometimes meditation it just doesn't help. Like I've had people say, my ex-husband say about monks sometimes, or ones that get into real meditative states. When they come out of it, they're angry. Well, that's because they were in a meditative state and their body is trying to shift and adjust. There's just sometimes when, like I said, that meditation doesn't work because it's a poison and you can't push it. It has to be released. A lot of time, if it's not released in a healthy way, then it becomes an unhealthy way. And it can, in some ways, it can become very volatile, violent, not only for yourself, but for others. It's like when somebody is having a meltdown, it's not about egging them on because, I just heard that it's not about egging them on. And when there's like, if you're standing up for yourself and somebody's trying to make you feel like shit for standing up for yourself, I'll tell you right now, that's on them. It's like the workforce to be able to be working for somebody, that would be really difficult for women, especially when I can feel intentions. I know that I'm supposed to be going around and I can go up to her, you know, and I just reach out and it's like I connect with it. And I start speaking. I went to museums and it would happen. I feel the mojo, the attachments, the pain, whatever happened, it would come out. It's like that part of that spirit telling its story. This is not mental health issue for me. The mental health issue is being able to express my feelings. And when you're told that you need to suppress them because it makes other people uncomfortable, it's selfish. A lot of the time, I put a smile on my face. I'm actually screaming inside, or I feel like I'm being torn apart inside. And that's okay because I know what I'm experiencing. I know what I'm going through. And I know I'm not alone going through this. Because when I was driving up the road, I was screaming and I just wanted to take the steering wheel and just fucking rip it right off. It's like, no, don't do that. You gotta calm down, Sandra. Get her to breathe. If it weren't for my mom coming in and my ancestors, different family spirit, coming in, I feel very alone. And that's the worst. You know, the other day was my ex-husband, my last, felt abandoned. Felt that I abandoned him because I left. But I left because I wasn't dealing with the fighting anymore. I wasn't dealing with him saying that, he's going to kick my son out. It's like, I could tell them, you kick him out, you're kicking me out. It's like his come before you. But the system's all wrong. People shouldn't be waiting a year and a half. Yeah, well, I have somebody to talk to, and they shouldn't have to go to a psychiatrist to get diagnosed and labeled and told, here, take this pill and go home and call me in a week or two, or come back in a week or two, and we'll do the same thing forward. If you have, if it's someone that has a lot of pain, emotional pain, that ain't helping. Deep seeds. And that's why I hear a lot of people saying that they've gone to mental health, it's not helpful. They've been put on medication, and like I said, the medication usually creates a weight gain, or it creates more of a depression, or it creates uh, suicidal tendencies. But they tell you, here, take this. So they're creating more of a problem for you. I don't need a suicidal hotline. I just need one fuck of a punching bag that, I can just release this tension out on, because they said she needs to release this. It's part of being able to release it in a healthy way, in a healthy environment. Because I know if I was in a whole other environment where there was the love and affection and kindness and the whole, some people, because they can't get there, they don't want you to get, they don't want you to get in heaven. Just say, your actions speak louder than words. Like, for my ex-husband, like, he could have been abundant years ago. He wouldn't listen to me. He just listened to all the ones that are standing there, banks included, because they're the biggest ones. It's your choice whether or not you go get a loan or you go get credit. But the way things are right now, a lot of people feel that that's the only alternative that they have. And then that alternative creates more of the stress, because then you're left wondering, okay, I got this now. Okay, this happened. How in the hell am I supposed to pay for this? Or how am I supposed to do this? And a lot of people that have credit cards, they're paying their bills with their credit cards because they can't afford to pay it any other way. And then it's the catch up game. So it creates a strain on you, it creates a strain on your family, it becomes that vicious circle. Certo thing. Sono fluid. It's like, when are we going to wake up? A lot of us are awake and seeing it. And then there's some of us, we're just really thick and we don't want it. We see it, but we don't want to see it, because if we see it, then we have to, like, address the elephant in the room. Like when I see on different videos and what have you about people going across the country, or going from one country to another to help with the hurricanes and the floods and everything like that, because the ones that are receiving the money to help aren't helping. They're creating more of a problem. It's like, I'm curious to know, because in 2016 your prime minister had a net worth of $5 million, but now he's worth 90 million. Where'd that come from? And then the other one that's running to the end, it said that he owns buildings. He owns rental properties. And his net worth is $25 million US. No offense, people, but you ever watch the episode of South Park when Cartman said that you're going to get a turd, a douche, or a wiener, or a wiener, or a dildo? Like, I ain't got a charisma. But it's like your bite. It's that part of you only bite if you're trying to protect yourself. But you prefer not to bite, because you prefer to do it a different way. It stinks. The ones who actually want what's best for people, not their pocketbooks, not their buddies, the rich buddies. Part of you look, and it's like, who can you trust in those systems, especially if they already have, like, if they have wealth, if they have wealth a lot of the time, their wealth doesn't talk for them. That's like another lust, a thirst for money, greedy. Seven sins: the medical system, justice system, corporate. And then you have religion and spirituality, because it's all in how it's seen. and sexual sterilization. People don't think that that's still going on. You might want to think of it. The one I left out was money banking system. Are they put there for you? How well are they really protecting you? Because I've heard a lot of story, a lot of stuff, like even within my own family. No offense to people, but when you come in and it's very much appreciated of asking me if I'm okay. I'm okay given what it is that I'm experiencing, releasing all that pent up energy. No, this is not why I had my kids taken away from me. My youngest son, because it was my spirituality, and that got held against me. I still have obviously those moments because I'm very angry with systems because they fail. If you can line their pockets, they're for you. But if you can't, my ex-husband went through the same thing as I did. He stopped fighting because he didn't want to fight, and it created a division between him and his child. And now they're not even anyone talking. People say you're well. He's part of my family too because he was my stepson, and I encouraged so much for him to see him. But he went through a lot of what I went through because I did go through that with my youngest son, but I kept going because I knew one day he would be coming home. I didn't know when, but I knew one day he would be coming home. And in that time that he was gone, I I went and was doing my paralegal, and I don't know how many times I felt quit. My ex-husband, he kept saying, "No, don't quit, keep going." And it took me a year to get a job. My interview, I bombed big time because I suck at it. And when I'm being interviewed, I suck at it, and because it's like you're on the spot. But when I left, I had that feeling. And I contacted her and I told the lawyer straight up. I said, like, I know I bombed my interview, but I would like to be able to talk with you so that I can get some tips on how to do a better interview next time I apply for the job. Unbeknownst to me, when I went and her and I met for coffee, she was doing a second interview. And I got a call asking to start with. It was part of my dream job. I had my own office. I was wearing suits. I felt like a somebody. And then one day on the way to work, it was all torn away because I got in an accident because the city was trying to cut corners and save money. So they didn't salt the road. They didn't finish. They stopped on a hill with a sharp corner. And later, after my accident, I was told that my car accident was the whole department. And I was told that the person that salted the road went back to refill, and their supervisor told me, no, don't bother going back. We'll wait until the next one. We'll get it then. A lot of people drove through that road to get to town, and I wasn't the only one that went off. There was a young guy that he went off and I think it was said he went off around 7:30. I didn't even see his truck in the ditch, and I didn't have him so fast. It was like, calm down. I started losing control. I was trying to get it back. It was like a slingshot. I was pulled back and then just released. And it was like just, and then I remember feeling like I was airborne. And then I remember flying up, like hearing crashing, and I vaguely see myself fly up into, and I was thrown around all in the car. And I had a briefcase full of stuff in the car and other stuff. It was like a pipe or something. And then that's when things really went downhill. Kept telling people I'm not okay. I don't feel okay. I don't feel okay. And that's why I don't trust systems. Because I've not seen them change. I've observed them cause me harm in my family and others harm because I listen to people's stories. I remember a girl telling me that summer, she was the time that summer, she told me that there was a man there. So it was really strange because he was there. Like he had no vehicle. Nothing. She said it was like he came out of nowhere, and he was holding a. She described it. He was a heavier set in shorts and a t-shirt, and he was holding what appeared to be like a machete or something. She said that she was standing there and she talked to him for a couple minutes. And she said when she turned around for a second and she turned back, they had been gone. You wouldn't see it. And in the picture that I have, there's like a bubble. And in that bubble, I even showed my counselor. In that bubble, it was like a photographic image of me. And I wasn't the same. I lost the ability to walk a lot of the time. And people said I was faking, looking for attention. I lost the ability to talk at many times. Oh, a bad stutter. I started going catatonic, going unconscious. It got to the point where I would have to tell people, like if I'm walking and all of a sudden I go freeze frame, don't touch me unless you're ready to catch me. They tried getting doctors to, but because they were too busy looking at my mental health records, I'll get it later. No, thank you. Do you want to do that? I got you. And get water. I was thinking about it. So in 2008, we were living somewhere else. We had a house fire. I actually thought I had left the grease on, but it was, they found out that it was a panel wall. And we were staying over, we were renting a place. And then I was getting ready for Christmas, and I bumped the table. And when I bumped the table, it knocked the lamp over, and it knocked the lamp over. It was mold, and it was one of those bulbs that had mercury. And I took and I got down like that, and I started sweeping it up, not knowing anything about like mercury or what have you. And I caught, I started experiencing itching in my body. It was like my body, like I had ate insulation. I was going to the doctor. I contacted poison control, and they told me, "Oh well, you can't get more mercury poisoning from that because there's only 4 milliliters of mercury in it." And I did my own looking, and it was like, no, like it's not about getting on your skin when you're drinking or what have you. It's the vapors that you breathe in, because it is this like little particles of fibroblasts. My mom was going to the doctor with me. I was having trouble breathing. I was waking up in agony and sweats and just pain, even pain using the bathroom. And then a year later, standing in the middle of the kitchen, ex-husband at one end, and my son at another end, and then all of a sudden I saw him go, and then to the ground, and I started like, thinking. After that, I started like having trouble with my breathing, going unconscious a lot. I couldn't do a lot of walking. I even lost the doctor because I went for a second opinion because I had asked her first, and she said no. And when I brought the paperwork back that said I had an impaired cerebral metabolism, which was the lack of oxygen and glucose getting to my brain, and there were other things going on within it, and I haven't really been able to work since. And then a lot of other things between that. And I died, and now I speak in different forms of languages all the time because I'm becoming I'm becoming who I am. I always was suppressed from it. Like spirit smelling different things. People not even aware of it, but it's their feelings, their thoughts, or what have you. They they channel through me. A lot of people say, no, that's not happening at all. But it was that part that I ended up stopping from asking for help because nobody helped me anyway. They just look at my mental health history, and that's how a lot of people end up dying. They end up dying in emergency rooms, and there's a lot more of that happening right now where people are dying in the emergency room because you hear about it. It's one of the things that they're talking about right now. It's like it's pretty sad when people are dying in an emergency room or are there for emergency assistance, and a doctor will tell you to go go to the emergency room because you got a cold. Get a cold or something. Drink some eucalyptus tea with a bit of honey in it, or turmeric tea. Natural remedies went a long way. Just all this other stuff, it became profitable. Did you ever think, you get cough medicine? What's it got in it? Alcohol. So what do alcoholics do? They'll drink cough medicine because not only is it like a drunk, but it's also like a high. I observed one guy who was a native, and he had an addiction. His father was a chief or something like that. that he would drink bottles of Alcovelva. And then, from what I understand, he took his own life. And it happens a lot, not just with one ethnic background, but it's with everyone. But they'll divide you, and then the division creates mental health problems for everyone within the family because they're all like some are screaming and saying that we need help, and some are just in total denial and saying that you're just a broken child. You always got problems. It's for you. I know someone told me that they used to beat themselves up, they used to punch themselves. Actually, I had two people tell me they used to beat themselves. I looked in the mirror and told myself that I hated myself, and I rolled the dice for 4 or 5 months. But that was because, I felt like dying was the only way that I was going to get through this. I even thought that dying was a way to, like, you feel like you're failing a way around. So you feel like everybody can play along without you. When I was 17, I, no offense to her, because she thought I was saying afterwards, but she sat in the corner, just, alone. She told me she was going to let me down. And I told her I didn't ask for help. People always say that I didn't say, but she did. And with somebody that is there, that your family feel that she love you, and they tell you that you should have left too far. But now, well, just standing up for me sometimes. And I was told by someone that that sister speaks very highly of me, and I appreciate it because I don't have other people who stand up for me. And even if people don't stand up for me, I still stand up. It's a very big thing. You scream, you scream, and you scream. And the ones you feel that are supposed to hear, okay, hear you. You feel like you need to talk to them because they tell you. Exactly. Today's what I'm doing to myself. I don't have I sleep and keep to myself because I'm trying to express something that I'm feeling. And it's like that little child. You don't know how because the ones that you feel that are supposed to be there to help you through it. They're not that support or they have stuff in their own. For a lot of people right now, the shifts that are taking place in your body system feels like a whole lot of crazy sometimes. You're being told sometimes if you struggle being told of your words, you gotta be in charge of your actions. You can't let never be as much as you feel like you want to, or you feel like you're gonna shake people. You can't from the pain of the sleep or the heart of the sleep until you're too sensitive. It's not that I'm too sensitive, it's that it's all been bottled up inside. And it creates a distance. It festers, festers, festers. And then when it comes out, it's like, and you don't think of who's in your path when it comes out. This is why right now I have no, no value in marriage right now because of when you have that person safe with others, for others, and they're not there for you in your life, but they want you there for you. The marriage is not a one-sided thing. Marriage is two. It takes two for a relationship to work. And it's not something that, like a real loving relationship, it shouldn't take, it should be natural. It shouldn't be like pulling teeth, but then you hear some people give up which love is not sacrificed. The lack of communication is what hurts. You hear so much about the romance period, and then, you know, that love and affection. It's like, where to go? There's only 3 months of it. And when you're looking through the like the the justice system or what have you, they tell you that, if you've been living with a person partner for 3 months, you consider common law. Seriously. That's put there so they can make money out of you. It's not a benefit to you. They tell you that when you get married, you gotta file together. Boy. And that's what I like. Some people say, "Oh, well, yeah." It's like, well, no, I don't see how that would even remotely be fair. You're still working separate jobs. Whether they say, "Oh, well, you got this much coming into the household." That's only, if you're not married, but they're telling you that you're married. Like, only because it's a benefit for them, right? Because it's really fucking good for people. A lot of financial, mental health anguish takes place with consistency because it tears families apart because now most families have to have both parents working, sometimes even 2 or 3 jobs at a time. And then the younger siblings are left to look after kids. So if they got to grow up, they can't be a kid. They can't experience childhood. And then they're resentful. Like they're putting, like, learning about money about they're putting kids out. Like they're getting kids at 14 years of age. It's been like that for a bit, like students. But they teach nothing about anything that is teaching you how to survive in the world physically, mentally, emotionally. And I'm saying even spiritually, if it's the guidance is not there because it's so hidden and it's said to be taboo, then they won't cover it because it's not part of it. What? Because it's not profitable to you and nobody else has access to it unless they have, the funds available, which, most people that are suffering from mental health are in financial dire need and stress. But said waiting for having to wait a year and a half to get into mental health and you know that you can't afford a therapist, but then they might say, "Oh well, we were going to find a psychiatrist earlier." A psychiatrist is like, I don't need your pills. I need healing, not a band-aid, and not take something that profits you and kills me. because it does. It numbs you what you really need to be experiencing and releasing in healthy way, in healthy environment. And that environment is not given to you. When in a psychiatric and it's like a detention center, it's like being in jail. It's like a punishment. You aren't even allowed to really go outside. And if you do, you're allowed in a courtyard. If you go anywhere else, you need a chit. You need permission. You know, all these big fancy rich houses that, you know, why aren't they being used as facilities that everyone has access that everyone has access to, not putting it in a detention? It's not very healing. And a hospital is not very healing. You can't get rest in a hospital because there's so much fucking white noise and noise of people constantly. Even in the prison system, it's like a bunch of fucking chinchillas and monkeys. That's what it sounds like. You ever go to a zoo and hear those monkeys just screeching? It makes you cringe. You have these sectors and it's profitable. And people say, oh, well, they're committing crime. Why are they committing crime? Why are they doing what they're doing? And when they go in there, why are they not offered appropriate help to get to the point of why it's happening? And some people will say, oh, you need to do it. That's what you perceive. Do you know? Do you know them? Do you know, like, do you know their upbringing? And if you do, can we not see where, you know, people are coming from? We want people to understand us. I'm not justifying criminal like crimes. I'm not justifying that. Like for small things, it goes overboard. It's like you look and it's like, oh wow, shit, a drunk driver gets more time than somebody who raped and molested your children, or you, or someone who brutally murdered you, your family. You went through a mass shooting, and I knew one of the victims. I changed his fucking diaper when he was little. He was related to a part of my family. And he lost his life because he got out to help someone. And what happened? They shot the mass shooter. And they did it in fiery. And things were said that like, he was connected to the system. But I didn't follow it. Where I'm at, they had a tree. A Christmas tree with all their names on it. Because where I'm at, there was like four Yeah, I'm very, I'm one of them, like a few of them was a cousin to somebody that I knew, cousin to somebody I knew. And it was said that people had been reporting his behavior and trying to get restraining orders on this person from like 2002. So that's a system that failed people. It was like the person was silenced to find out like what really happened, what went down. Pregnant women got killed because they what should have happened is that for that he knew he was guilty. Putting him in there with no bail. Because a lot of things covered up because they had been getting calls. How can one man go on scene and get away with that many killings? And those families, because of it, they all suffer because the system failed. It's like you hear it, the broken system. Is it a broken system or was it a system that never really worked for the people, but worked for the creators of the system? That's why a lot of people are trying to bring back the natural stuff in other people because they're so hooked into this big pharma medication stuff that, oh, this isn't no, they're building healing temples, sound, using bells, using sound, like sound and healing properties, medicinal stuff. And people say, oh, well, no, people were actually helping to heal each other. We're here to teach each other how to do this stuff, not hoard it. It's not about making a huge profit off someone else's misery or pain. Because if you're doing that, you're no better than the system. And I know that like the way to like being able to be like people of abundant, not saying you're not entitled, like shouldn't have your wealth, but it's a hurdle. Like at whose expense? I don't charge money. I just go where spirit guides me. I went to the university. I just started talking, and a woman told me that really their the dream was telling her that something like this was going to happen. And I showed up. She's grateful. She said other people, and then went to another that I knew, and I find it really hard to take to take compliments in the way that I'm told that you help me. That's I give that to spirit. It's your spirit. I show you. Even if I get pissed off at saying stand up. It's when I come on, it's me standing up. It's that release. And I understand that people don't like that, but I've been trying to talk to you for years and you just dismiss that too. I actually, to be honest, I helped like this past we help people get to I never had anything that I help. And lately I've just been feeling like I don't want to help you. I don't want to help people not because I don't want to help people in that sense, but it's a part of like you take advantage of someone so you need to get help in that sense. And he gets help from me because whether he's my ex-husband or not, he appears to be my best friend. People fight with their best friends because you reflect something that get your nose into it and reflect what you don't want to see. It's like he's that person spirit just put you with because when I had my cards, like I got my cards done yesterday, but it was mindful. That's the point. It wasn't. It was a message in different ways. We're all here and we're put in certain situations because it's something that you need to work through with that person because that's where the battle lies. Say embodying those people. And that's why it's like they appear to be that person. And some people take offense to what I say or go forward. And if you do, it's because it's hitting a spot or you just you have no idea what it would feel like. You have no experience. Like, do I expect people to understand me? Well, no, not really, because like I said, sometimes I don't even understand. It's a part of, just don't try to understand it. Because the more you try to understand it, the more you focus on it, the more you remain stuck. And you scream, or you look like a child having a tantrum. It's because your inner child is screaming. It's hurting. It's trying to make you work through something. And that's where mental health is supposed to come in. But when you're left waiting and left waiting, and you feel like you don't have that support system, and people in family unit to go through a process, that's where people feel like and that's when you lose loved ones and people in life. And sometimes you let blame yourself. It's not you blame it, but you have, it's not about blaming yourself. Because when you're dealing with your own shit, it is hard to be able to help people. That's the part you do. I may not physically help you things. I'm still that shoulder, but I won't take the certain views while you are there. It's like I would call playing that card game bullshit because I call myself right over here. And then I gotta sit there. So the systems need to be developed in a way that it helps the people, not the ones running, so-called running it, because they actually work for you. Because you pay their you pay their wages. If you pay their wages, but you got no say. Or you their boss, not them yours. It's supposed to be working for you, but people get that all confused. It's a way of making change and producing a system that all have access to freely. I went and I got a quote on what it would cost to get healthy in my mouth because your mouth, your teeth, hygiene, what have you, it creates toxins in your body. You get those silver fillings, and what happens? Because right now I taste metal all the time because my fillings are leaching. This dental office even told me it's the leaching. So that toxicity is going in your body and making you ill. But in order for me to become and get all of the infection out and had a tooth removed and tooth replaced and what have you, $23,000 because that would be holistic. I'd be getting all the metal removed from my mouth. I'd be getting all of the diseased parts of my mouth cleared up. They know this. And it's a part of, like, why are they still using metal wire, like, or that metal stuff in the mouth or that plastic stuff? They tell you not to put this stuff in your body. That's what they use. So is that they're the only exception? Like, only for this, like, what I'm speaking of, it all creates mental health because self-esteem comes with your teeth, how you look, how your breath smells. My ex-husband tells me that sometimes there's a distinct smell that comes out of my mouth, and he said it burns his eyes. And the dentist even said that it was from this. It's not because I'm not brushing my teeth or keeping my teeth clean, because I've seen the pictures of my teeth, other than the freaking leaching, the metal fillings and stuff like that in my mouth, and some cavities and what have you, cavities. My teeth are like in pretty good shape. They're fairly decent. Like, just for my teeth at home, fixing my teeth so that my jaw works better and everything. So you don't get the pain in your face anymore. To be healthy in that way, I'd have to come up with $23,000. but you're paying through medical system. For food that they know is toxic, but you don't always know that, but they do because they know that most people don't read the label, and if they do read the label, they ain't got a sweet freaking clue what it is that they're reading or what those big words mean. It's where they keep you profitable. Say I read it, and I don't know if they took it off or what, but there was a doctor, Robert Miller, um, somewhere here, somewhere in the Maritimes. He said that the biggest majority of taxpayers' dollars is supposed to go towards the health care. The biggest majority actually goes towards legal fees to protect doctors from medical malpractice. So there's where your money goes. And then it's put in and says, well, you got it, like you get this at the QE2 or IWK, you're collecting, they're doing these draws and all that to give out big houses and stuff like that to get machine. That's all supposed to be paid for. Is it, you know, and then they're looking for donations for different things and what have you. A lot of people stop giving because, especially for certain types of cancer and stuff like that, it's not because they don't have a heart. It's because they know that that money's not going where they say it's going. But they'll lead you to believe that it is, and they will lead you to believe so much that you will fight with others who tell you different. How's that a system that works for you? Maybe you're rich and you don't have a problem. But most people that need the help, they don't have that luxury. And that's where they become the profitable ones. Some would say, oh, well, all you do is no, I'm not complaining. I'm stating the fact. It's other people who are doing the complaining. It's like that one that we're budgeting, that one that poor person that sits in their home and knows how to budget to make the dollar go further. Prioritizing. I was watching the thing and they're putting, they put like $250,000 into a research program thing with regards to video games. Video games that are causing a lot of mental health issues for your children. You think you're like doing it they're doing it to manipulate. How can we manipulate? But people say, "Oh, you're just paranoid." Am I? 'Cause like you probably got other people saying it to you. You're probably even saying it yourself. You're just not hearing yourself, or you're arguing with somebody else because they're saying the same thing, only you're both wording it differently. It's the part of seeing it from a different perspective, from a different angle, but you're saying the same thing. Only it's that, oh, I gotta be right. Well, you're both fucking right if you just listen to each other. I'm not a problem child. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a moron. I'm not useless. I'm not lazy just because I don't cater to everybody and I don't like I keep my place clean. I don't have a lot of money to go places. I don't want to go sit in a bar because I don't want to be around the alcohol, but I want to sing and dance. They got rid of you used to be able to go to a hall to dance. Family used to go to the hall and dance. And they don't even have those anymore. I used to like going to those. We'd get up and we'd dance. That was something we did together. Once, when, well, almost like a shit, and I ended up like dropping someone to the ground, but not by punching them out, but they kept pushing me. And they kept going to the ground, and I just told them, like, don't fucking do that. And then they did it again, and I just got up and I walked up to them. I put one arm behind them, put my leg behind them, and put this, and just went like that. But I made sure they didn't smash their head off the ground. And then, the ass of my pants ripped out. And the one that was in charge of the hall, well, we were leaving, and they called the police. The police told us all to go over. Everybody was telling me to stay in the car, and I was telling the police officer because that night it was the guy that I dropped. Him and somebody else were, I don't know, it was like what fully was going on, and I was walking by, wrong place, wrong time, and I got punched in the face, and I went to go after them. And another woman jumped in front of me and said, and that was the same night that I dropped the person, and I told the cop, like, he punched me in the face. He punched in the face. I don't know if it was him or the other guy because I wasn't paying attention. I don't like being around people drinking because some people just like to cause problems. There was another night after my car accident, and this guy kept talking to me, asked me if I want about buying me a drink, and I said, well, I'd like to. If you want to buy me this was when I drink something. If you want to buy me a drink, well, buy me a drink, but like, you ain't getting anywhere. So he didn't really buy me a drink. Fine. He didn't want to buy him one anyway, but it was like, whatever. But I know what you're trying to do. And he was sitting there and he was trying to create problems because he knew that he knew that there was a couple there in London. he'd get really jealous, which was foolish. And the guy kept poking. And he kept saying he was going to ask this person to dance. I kept telling him, no, don't. He's just trying to cause problems. So I got out and I went outside because at that time I smoked. I quit in 2008. I went out, stand there, and all of a sudden I heard a commotion. I heard I heard like this person that I really knew. I heard them, and then the wife come, and like I just knew that like something happened. And the other guy that I told not to do that, not to start anything, he come out, and I got so irate with him. I peed my pants because it was that fight or flight, and I wanted to rip him a whole new one. And I told him, like, I slammed the door and I told him, get the fuck out of here now. And then I had another person look at me and say, we didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, he did. Because he knew that he was instigating. So then the shit hit the fan, and I got blamed. I ended up telling somebody, like, get your fucking ass in the car. And I was talking to him, and I was told, don't coddle him and the baby though. And it's like, I'm not, like, just go home, just go. And then it was all it was like it turned on me because I was trying to excuse stuff. And then I had another person come beside me and trying to like tell me to calm down, and I just hit my head over to them, and I told them straight up, back off, because you ain't got a clue what's going on here. And then I got blamed because the person got locked out of their house and everything like that. But that's the part where I don't like being around alcohol. I would go to the bar after I divorced my ex-husband. And at first I wasn't drinking. And then I started drinking. It was not blaming other people because I was the one that took the drink. And I met somebody, and they were pretty good. They cheered me on, they encouraged me to go further within my journey, within my education. So I took 6 courses at Dalhousie, a university. And I did those within 3 months. But I never got anywhere. And then my mental and medical health continued to deteriorate. It wasn't so much my mental health as it was my physical health, but my physical health was taking a toll on my mental health. And I just felt like I was being belittled, that I wasn't being heard, or they weren't getting to what the underlying factor was. And it was because I could feel my body dying. I could feel my body deteriorating. In 2009, I went from 100, before my accident, I was like between 130 and 140. And in 2008, I weighed 184 pounds. That was the most I ever weighed, but it was because of the pills that I was on. They were all pills to make you gain weight. I started dry heaving. And I anything I ate, I couldn't. It was like I couldn't keep it down, but it wasn't because I wasn't trying. And the only thing that I could eat for the most part of the time was food. It's the only thing my body within could handle. And I went from 184 to 94 pounds between 4 to 6 months. And it wasn't because I was trying to lose weight. I had people tell me I looked anorexic. Like when I was heavy, oh, you put on a lot of weight. You're like you're fat. Like, you have a look at yourself. And then when I lost weight, oh well, you look anorexic. Like seriously, people, wasn't I taking it? Wasn't I going through enough that I didn't need my self-esteem hit anymore? It's like, is your self-esteem so low that you got to beat somebody else up too? And that's what people struggle with. A lot of people struggle with self-esteem issues, and this and the medical system don't make it easy. It actually creates it even more because it doesn't address the underlying problems, and it's not you. It's it's what's in your food. It's how your systems are intrusive. And we say it again and again and again. It's systems integrated into society, and people are feel cornered and forced to live under them. And when they start fighting back, they're ridiculed. They're told they're conspiracy theorists. They're told that you have histrionics or you're bipolar or you have just so people don't listen to you because they know what you're saying is true. And that's where we all become divided and fighting with one another and not realizing that we're all telling the same story or the same truths. Only we're wording it differently and we're not taking the time to realize that. Because they're always throwing twists in that and blaming you for it, making you feel guilt and shame for the choices that you felt you were cornered because you felt there was no other way. It's kind of blackmail. It's manipulation. So, they get away with it with you. If you try to manipulate the system, what happens to you? But it's okay for them to do it all the time. What? Because it's under the table, somebody coming in, somebody distracting you in the front door, meanwhile they're coming in the back door. They're effing you from behind. Take it up the ASS. Oh, what they don't know won't hurt them. But oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Will, it's going to be profitable for us. Yeah. Yeah, I just had somebody ask me what language are you speaking. I actually had the same person that told me that I was an idiot and moron on one of my videos. They asked me what language I'm speaking. I speak a multitude of different languages. Sometimes they all come in their phone together. I've spoken Hebrew, Celtic, German, Portuguese, uh, Norris, Hopi, Mi'kmaq, French, um, a lot of different languages all intertwined because they're all languages of our ancestors. And they're all speaking. They speak through me, they speak through you. Some of it just comes out in English and you. And sometimes it comes out feeling like it's gibberish. And people say, "Oh, you're not speaking a language." Really? Go get a fucking translator. I tell them now, like in order for me to, like when I obtain a work, it's like I'm gonna have to work for myself, and anybody that's working with me, you're gonna need to get a translator because it's gonna channel through in whatever language it is that needs to come through. But people want to come in on my stuff and try to shame me. You're only making yourself look bad. And after I said you're only making yourself look bad, I felt it. And shoe fits, wear it. Sometimes I got to wear that shoe that you know. It's obvious that if somebody says that I said something, well, point me in the direction where I said it in my videos. Point me in the direction, and I will go clarify it for you because I will see myself saying it. I won't deny saying it. Like I suffered through, like after my mom passed. Just like I said yesterday or the other day when I was live. In ways I felt like it was my fault. And why I felt it was my fault because back before that, I found my oldest son's biological father and I told my mom. And she told him, and then, I ended up a few times getting into my mom, and I hate her. Remember one night after like 99, after I had the exorcism and everything like that, I was playing ball, and we went to a dance, and my mom was intoxicated, and it was like she had a flip switch. She started freaking out. It was because she couldn't find the car keys. And I had to drop her to the ground the same way I did that guy. And I got on top of her and she leaned up. I got on top and I went like that and kind of like that so she couldn't come up and mine. But instead, she come up and she bit me right there because she wasn't in the appropriate mental state because she was mixing alcohol with her medication. And they were some heavy duty medications too, because they had her on shit piles of medication. They were overdosing her, and that's what they'll do. Because it's their responsibility to know what medications you're on so that they're not overdosing you. And they were overdosing her. But will they take responsibility for that? No, they won't. But they should be held accountable for it because they're causing bodily harm to people. And, it's called negligence. It's not up to the patient to know. know? That's what your government sends most of the money to protect them, so they can keep doing negligence. I know somebody else who, like, died, like, pretty much, like, had a near-death experience, and the family tried to sue the doctor, and it almost bankrupted them, and they had to stop. How's that fair to that family? Seriously. You make the patient sick, you make a profit off it, and then you tell the patient that it's their responsibility. Wake up, wake up to what is true, what is real, what is genuine and authentic. Hear those people that are screaming bloody blue murder because it is bloody blue murder. You know, maybe you work within the system and you don't want to see that because it's that part of, they couldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. How many of you have actually caught that but didn't say anything for fear of losing your, for fear of receiving the backlash of you speaking up or standing up for yourself or the ones you are helping? Addressing the elephant in the room that they never want you to address because it exposes them. Because I know a lot of people on here have had experiences where they've gone to their doctors or professionals or what have you, and they've been blown off. And I'll almost guarantee that you got blown off because of what they have written with regards to your mental health. They weaponize it and they use it against you. But they created the problem in many cases because they don't address it. They put a band-aid on it because it's cheaper and it's more profitable for them because then they're not working out. They get to pocket money. How many of you actually knew that, like, when a doctor, like these people that go around promoting certain medications or even doing on commercials, they go around promoting to the doctor certain medications. How many of you know or knew that for every new medication that is brought to market, because it's a selling point, it's a selling point, brought to the doctors to promote to the patients, encourage the patients, they get an incentive to work. I looked into it and I even did a video on it. You know, whether they, like, I don't even know if they let that video go through. I think they tried to take it away on me because they knew it was true. Because if it wasn't true, they wouldn't take it down. But they do. They get an incentive. May not be money, but it's trips, it's free dinners, it's free hotel rooms, stuff that can't be traced, hey? Maybe I am bug-eyed. Because right now there's a lot of fucking energy going through me. A lot of people, I believe, are channeling through me right now because they're speaking up in different ways. Just use your voice. That's why it was given to you. You weren't meant to be silenced. They silenced you. It's like right now, I know I'm drawing a lot. Like when you speak up, you flip tables. If you ever watch Chosen or movies where they show Yeshua going to different places and just flipping over the tables. It's not that you're going into the building and flipping over tables, but you're flipping. I know that there's good things for me, and I know that there's good things for you. It's a part where we need to see it, the truth, and then get our heads out of our asses. And some people don't like that term, but get your head out of it. Get your head out of your ass, get out of your own way. Because I know that everybody sees something for themselves. They just don't know how to start. It's always tell me never bloomer. It's not that we're never bloomers. Because I could say to them, well, you're never bloomer. What, because you were in the military? Do you think that was a bloomer? No. It's not that we're never bloomers. It's we haven't been given the opportunity to bloom. And sometimes if we're given the opportunity, we get scared. Because we've been so used to being disappointed that we struggle with whether or not it's a genuine. Right now, my body right now, especially in my behind, simple thing, eh? It's buzzing. It's like, holy crap, man. Because I know that there's stuff that it's that doesn't like what I'm bringing forward. And I know it could be people watching me. To me, this is remembering everyone because everyone has sacrificed themselves. For whatever reason, the best did not go in sync. Whether it be trying to show people something, death creates a lot of create resentment, anger, frustration can create a division. It can create people to go, just feels like you go numb, or you distract yourself from feeling what you need to be feeling. You need to keep from going fully and utterly insane. Saying about my mom. And she died. I blame myself because I raised kids. I found my oldest son's biological father, and it created trauma. A lot of people were angry. It's like, why are you angry? My mom always told me that she told, the son that if he ever wanted to find his biological father, that she'd help him. So why was there so much anger? Because I know right now it didn't just leave me. Maybe it leave him, but I can't speak for him. That's why I said it. Maybe that created a rift between him and I. Who knows? Because I'm never told anything. I'm just told. I was told to let him. Told that somebody said about they should take my dogs to the pound, and that I was an effing idiot. I only found him because I knew he was looking for me. Because I called him and I called him when they were on my computer. So am I gonna wear that belt anymore? No, but I feel like somebody else is trying to make me feel or have me feel like it because it got their nose. And a lot of mental health for me came from that too. Because I did. I started telling my parents that I hated them. So I'm gonna leave it there. I've been on here almost 3 hours. Kila papataya taristik yung mapatay. Yesu na kisa na paparuta kung mapatayan inisip. Isuki pa doon. Itulog na kaya itutusi pa parisita tayo. So always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other thing. Says Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, talking about the governmental system, and they speak. Gusto to pre sila kisinuwayan. Gusto pre. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wants and willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave, and supportly be yourself, your authentic self. Be who you are, not who somebody says you are or you have to be. Be kind, be true to yourself, be true to others. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and know that you have more strength than you can comprehend at times. I hope you all had a great weekend. Send you all love. Peace out,